The next tool in the toolkit we will be discussing with you is Avatar. Avatar maintains a system baseline configuration by executing system security policies that act as an intrusion and detection response system. The most important function of Avatar is response. If the baseline is modified for any reason, it will be detected by Avatar and returned to the correct configuration. Intrusion is identified as any unauthorized modification to the system baseline. When an unauthorized person breaks into a computer, their actions will always dictate their goals. Such goals will be detected by Avatar and corrected. A baseline can be configured with the possible options: existence, permissions, ownership, cryptography, and context. The final tool in the toolkit we will be discussing with you is JDIS. JDIS is a tool that performs fast disassembly of Java bytecode. There is a version of JDIS called JADE, Java Advanced Disassembly Analysis Engine, built into vFind. It is important to disassemble Java bytecode prior to virus scanning because it is the only way to associate constant pool entries with opcodes. This association allows the virus scanner to scan for what is actually going on inside the program instead of guessing. vFind is the only antivirus tool to provide scanning of Java disassembly. JDIS is also provided as a standalone tool so that a security officer can disassemble a Java bytecode program into disassembly for manual analysis. This can be valuable when confronted with a potentially new and unknown Trojan horse written in Java.
Welcome. With us is James Roach Jr.
Hello.
Jim is our Unix lead engineer on our vUpdate project, and he's here to answer a few questions about the newest tool to the vFind Security Toolkit. Jim, how can vFind users get updates to VDL files and new versions of the programs?
New with the 1.5.8 release of the vFind Security Toolkit, or VSTK, is the beta 1.0 version of a new program, vUpdate. vUpdate is designed to automatically contact the file server, download any new files, and install them in the proper directory.
Well, Jim, does the user have to execute vUpdate manually to update these files?
No, vUpdate is designed to run as a cron job in the background. It may be run as frequently or infrequently as the user desires.
Jim, does the user have any way of not having vUpdate install these files?
Yes, there is a command line argument, --no-install, that will leave the files in a temporary directory. vUpdate maintains a log report file that will inform the user where the temporary files are located and what their final name should be.
Jim, how does the user designate where the files are to be installed?
The user must define an environment variable of vUpdate, all in capital letters, for the root directory of where the program is saved on the system. For instance, the default directory for VSTK is user lib VSTK. So therefore, the user would define the vUpdate environment variable to that directory.
Well, Jim, where is the log report file kept?
The log report file is kept in the directory data reports below the directory pointed to by the vUpdate environment variable and is named vupdate.rpt.
Thank you, Jim, for your time, and you've been very helpful.
What I will finally discuss with you is the interchangeable parts of our tools within the toolkit. Our tools process information from standard in and sends information to standard out. For example, we have vFind, okay? vFind works best with UAD. So, what we would do is we would send information of our file system into standard in of UAD. UAD would then take that information and process information to standard out, which would then pass into vFind. vFind would receive the information from standard in and then transfer that information to standard out to either a report or email, for so to speak. But let's say, for instance, we want to include CIT to create, our cryptographic database of all files that we wanted to maintain on our system. Well, that's not a problem. instead of piping all of our information into UAD, then into vFind, what we would do is just add CIT into the picture. So what we would do is then pipe information into CIT standard in, which CIT would then send information to standard out of the standard in UAD. UAD would then send its information to standard out into the standard in of vFind. And vFind would then send its information to standard out into a report or into an email, as I said earlier. But let's say, for instance, we don't want UAD. We don't want decomposition or file identification. We just want a cryptographic hash of the particular files and a scan. We don't particularly care about what the file is. That's not a problem either. Simply, we just take UAD out of the picture and just have UAD and vFind run accordingly. Information comes into CIT standard in. CIT would process that information, send it into CIT standard out, into the standard in of vFind. vFind would process and scan that information and send that information to the standard out to a report or an email, as I said before. Now, let's say we don't want vFind. We just want a cryptographic database and an identification or decomposition of particular files. Again, that's not a problem. We take vFind out of the picture, and we have CIT and UAD. Information comes into standard in of CIT to the standard out of CIT, which gets grabbed in the standard in of UAD, which UAD would send that information to standard out, which again you can redirect to a file or to an email. But let's say we want all three again, CIT, UAD, and vFind. But at the same time, we want to check for Trojan horses on our system, which may not be picked up by vFind because the Trojan horse has no content. But that, again, is not a problem. We would add THD to the actual end of our reporting structure here. So again, information would come into CIT standard in. CIT would process that information, send it to the standard out, which would go into the standard in of UAD. UAD would process the information, process decomposition, identify the file, send that information to standard out, into the standard in of vFind. vFind would scan, report any particular potential viruses, process that information, send it to standard out, which would then go into the standard in of THD. THD would do its necessary reporting and then send that information to standard out. Another function or feature of the toolkit is that these can run in parallel. Let's say we wanted to use THD, but not in particular in our scan here of CIT, UAD, and vFind. That's not a problem. We can have THD, run parallel to our actual scan going here, where we would have CIT doing its scanning, UAD doing its process, vFind doing its process, at the same time execute THD to do its thing where it will receive its own information to standard in, send all of its information to standard out into either a report or email. So again, as you can see through the examples of these markers, each of our toolkits are interchangeable. Each component works with each other component, or they can run parallel.
The CyberSoft maintenance product is a combination of several of our competitors' products. CyberSoft maintenance includes product maintenance, updates and upgrades, in addition to telephone or email support. The upgrade portion includes everything that is released for a specific product. CyberSoft provides maintenance via two formats: Internet access and courier service. Internet access allows you to download everything from our websites. Courier service is provided for those customers who do not have Internet access. In courier service, CyberSoft sends everything included in the maintenance package via a courier of CyberSoft's choice. Normally, this is the United States Postal Service. Database updates for the antivirus products are released a minimum of twice a week. However, 3 to 4 times a week has happened. Courier service for database updates is normally done every other week. However, it can be done more often. The reason for the difference in price between Internet and courier service is that courier service is labor intensive in addition to the actual cost of shipping.
And it would just scan all files coming in doing standing balloon blah. God.
Hey, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the antivirus products at sea. Let's go to press.
Goodbye. 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 Oops. Bad finger. Goodbye.
I hate it when it does that.
CyberSoft Maintenance product is a combination of two of our competitors' products. I'm sorry.
The next tool is CIT. I said C. IT.